Picture it, Los Angeles, 2025.
Oh, welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever going to need to listen to. I am HAlanScott / Sadie Pines.
I'm Kerri Doherty, and today we're bringing you another golden compilation of our favorite Golden Girls moments. And this week we're breaking down our top favorite cheesecake moments because
Hello!
today we've got a very special guest who will be joining us a little bit later. We had a lovely chat with Chef George Geary, who was responsible for making every single cheesecake that appeared on the show, along with some other memorable desserts.
How cool of a job is that?
Amazing. I'm so George, he's a chef. He's a best-selling author. He wrote 16 cookbooks, which is so wildly impressive. He's a
So
culinary
impressive.
teacher. He's had over 30 years of experience. Like, what an absolute legend. And I want to take a quick moment to thank listener Lindsay for reaching out with this suggestion to interview
Ready?
George.
All together now. We
thank
you
so
much. Thank you.
Like, we've had producers, we've had writers, we've had cast members from the show. Having the chef who made the cheesecakes and the desserts and the food.
I mean,
this is another level of guest that we're having on today.
You know that, like, of everybody on set, sure, the ladies like the writers and the directors and everything, but every single person on set, from the actors down to the assistants, were obsessed with the food people. Let's be real. And he was probably the most popular person on set whenever he came in with all, because they probably went through a lot of cheesecakes in one episode, because they always have to reset a new one.
Yeah.
If they reset the scene.
Yep. So we're gonna find out all about his experience, all about the cheesecakes, all about how you make food look good for the camera, like lots of great stuff. So excited.
We're recording this in real time too. It's like we're about to have the chat with him. So y'all don't even know like what we're about. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen. I'm really excited. I love it when we do this.
Well, speaking of fun and exciting stuff, a little bit of housekeeping over in the GGVIP Club this week. One is we'll have.
Should I get my vacuum out? A little bit of
housekeeping. Should you get for housekeeping? We will have some bonus interview content with Chef George. That is only on the Patreon. Even more fun Golden Girls anecdotes, stories. Also on the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour bonus episode, we'll be talking about our favorite childhood Halloween movie moments. We also just had, this past weekend, another live watch-along party. We watched All That Jazz. It was really, really fun.
It was so much fun. And we so rarely do them on Saturdays, and it had a different energy to it.
Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed doing it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, but okay.
Can I tell you too? Before,
yes.
I need to say about the today's Rusty Anchor Happy Hour.
Mm-hmm.
Kerri chose a clip. Now, it's so rare that I don't know something that you know, with the exception of like Nickelodeon shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that stuff. You chose something that we're going to discuss in the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour that I have never seen before. I have no idea what this is.
You had never seen that before?
I had to watch the entire thing because I was blown away. I don't want to say what it was. You have to go to the Patreon to find out, but I was blown away by this.
As a homosexual, I am so shocked that you had not seen.
But you know what?
What I consider to be an iconic childhood Halloween movie moment.
You say that, and you have to recognize that as a child homosexual, I effectively was a middle-aged woman. I was watching Celia Ward and Sisters. I was, Lifetime Golden Girls-y and out. Like, I was not living the 10-year-old homosexual existence that other homosexuals were likely. You and your other friends, like, you weren't a homosexual, but you effectively are kind of a homosexual. So, like, you were living a different life than me.
Right. Right.
That's why I missed it.
Because the childhood movie I chose is definitely not something that like a middle-aged woman would probably be watching. I'm still shocked though. The clip that I pulled, I'm still shocked that has never like come across your algorithm.
It doesn't,
I'm dying to know as you hold your Goofy movie mug talking about how much of a grown-up you are.
This was my childhood. This was my childhood.
Oh,
Yes.
if we listen to each other. Can't afford it. All right. I want to before we take our break, I just want to dive into cheesecake for a minute.
Sure.
Where do you stand on cheesecake? Do you like cheesecake? What is the perfect kind of cheesecake for you? Is it a topping? Is it a flavored cheesecake? I don't know if we've ever
I
talked about our love for
we
cheesecake
have
or
we've talked a
dislike.
little bit about cheesecake because I don't dislike cheesecake, but I don't love cheesecake. I don't crave cheesecake, but I would never like if I was at a person's house and the dessert was cheesecake, I would gladly eat it. I would gladly eat it and be fine and it would be okay. But it's not something like when I go to the Cheesecake Factory, I'm not getting cheesecake. Like it's
What are
just
you
not.
going there for?
Well, the other food, you know what I mean? I rarely get the desserts there. I always just get the food because I love their brown bread. Ooh, with the butter. But I don't get the desserts all that often. And I am a dessert person. However, I just I don't know. I don't know. Cheesecake doesn't do it for me. What about you?
Well, let me ask you. If somebody were to put a piece of cheesecake down in front of you and
Yes.
they were in and you were felt obligated to eat it, what kind of cheesecake would make the
See,
most
I'm
sense
one of
for
those
you?
people. I like just a traditional cheesecake. I don't like I don't need a show. I just need like when, like when Fruity Pebbles, I just need the Fruity Pebbles. I don't need the seasonal marshmallow situation. I just
Ew, they
need
put
the Fruity
marshmallows in
Pebbles.
Fruity
Well, you know
Pebbles?
how they do weird things for weird seasons? I don't need any of that. I just need
Yeah.
the original thing. So with cheesecake, I'm like that. Just give me the original
Okay.
thing, you know?
So I love cheesecake. I
Yeah.
am I'm with you in that I wouldn't go for a flavored cheesecake like, oh, a pumpkin cheesecake, a chocolate cheesecake, a swirly whatever cheesecake. I like my plain standard cheesecake with the graham cracker
Yes.
crust. However,
Yes.
I do love like the canned cherry pie filling that you can get,
Yes.
ooey
Oh my
gooey.
God.
That is
Yes.
what I want as my topping. When I was a kid, my Aunt Nanny used to make these little mini cheesecakes and she would put a cherry from the can on top with a little bit of like the cherry juice, whatever, jam.
Mm-hmm.
And she would bring them over to my grandmother's house and they were supposed to be after dinner. I would always sneak in my
Mm.
grandmother's dining room and I would
Mm.
eat like 10 of them before dinner. So that is
Mm.
how I like my cheesecake.
I used to have a coworker who she was a weird coworker. But she would like make these little cheesecakes, individual cheesecakes in like a cupcake holder thing, and she would put the cherries stuff on top. I didn't care about the cheesecake, but I would snack on those little cherries and syrup, and I would just take and she would have the little forks because they were tiny. You have little forks, and I would eat it. It
Just the
just, I
cherries. You're
mean,
just scraping
just the
cherries
cherry
off.
because I didn't need the rest.
Well, if we were kids and we were hanging out, I would have let you have the cherry. I would have sacrificed the cherry for you and I would have eaten the cheesecake. Well, obviously, on the Golden Girls, the way that on Sex and the City, New York City is the fifth girl, I feel like Cheesecake is the fifth girl
It truly is.
on
It
this
truly
show.
is. And there is like I do think that in some way, and it also I feel like too it's a polarizing thing because I feel like for a lot of Golden Girls fans, I mean cheesecake is the default dessert, duh. But it also I don't feel like a lot of people love cheesecake. I don't know. I would love to hear from listeners where they stand on cheesecake because I feel like it is a polarizing dessert.
I don't know, maybe. I feel like it's not that polarizing, but maybe it is and I've just been blind
Well,
to
I mean, a lot of people with
that.
allergies can't eat it because of the dairy, so there's that part. And
Sure.
then so that eliminates a lot of people from
Mhm.
enjoying it. But then also on top of that, it just has a different consistency than other desserts that make it, I think, in its own lane.
Okay.
But,
All right. Yeah, sure. I'm
you know,
dying to hear from everybody else. What are your thoughts on cheesecake? So, according to the Golden Girls wiki fandom, because I didn't take the time to actually like watch every episode to figure this out, but
yeah.
I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. According to the Golden Girls wiki fandom, the women ate cheesecake in 21 episodes, and I think it was mentioned in an additional 2 episodes. Most of the cheesecakes were eaten in seasons 2 and 4. Um, so yeah, out of 180 episodes, we actually only had cheesecake in 21 of them.
That is very surprising.
I
That
know. I
I
was
was
very
I
surprised
was
by that.
Did they rank like what what episodes had the best, like the most cheesecake?
And no, they just went so far as to mention like which episodes had scenes where the women sat around eating cheesecake.
Oh,
But
wow.
I did watch a lot of scenes where the women eat cheesecake, and it's really interesting because, like, sometimes the girls intentionally when they have, like, an issue that they're trying to solve, they intentionally mention the needing of the cheesecake to solve the problem as they bring it out, like, "Well, this calls for cheesecake." And then other
Yeah.
times, they have a problem and somebody just puts it on the table, and I feel like the function of the cheesecake is just implied.
I mean, yeah, I feel like they had a lot of chocolate cheesecake on the Golden Girls. I remember
They
chocolate
did.
being mentioned quite a bit.
They did. So the few clips that we will be couple of the clips that we'll be showing, they do eat a chocolate cheesecake, and actually that was the first cheesecake ever
Yes.
on the show, the first 2.
Yeah.
Um, I also was wondering, I was like, I wonder where the women got the cheesecakes. And I did notice that a lot of times Rose, especially when Rose gets she's carrying it in a pink box, which I feel like would signify a bakery, right? And
I
like
would
not
think
like
so
she's
because
not
it's
getting it
always
like in the grocery store freezer section.
I mean, no, I don't think so. Like, I definitely don't think she's just getting it out of the store because it would come in a different package. I feel like there's, like, a local bakery in which
Mhm.
they go to, and they like, it's next door to the grocery store or
Yeah.
something, and they always get it from there. It
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be that way these days, but I feel like that's what
Mhm.
they did then.
Yeah, and they probably, like, kept that place alive, right?
Yeah, I think so. I would hope so.
Okay, well, that's all I really had to say about cheesecake. So,
I'm
should we
into it. I'm ready to talk about these clips and then give this like I'm ready to do a deep dive conversation on the girls and cheesecake with our guests because I cannot wait.
Okay, so let's you and me dive into we're gonna pick our top
Yes.
3 cheesecake moments, and then we have some honorable mentions, and then after that, we will come back with our chat, with the lovely Chef George.
So much fun. Be right back.
And we are back talking about the Golden Girls cheesecake. So we have to, of course, talk about the very first appearance of the cheesecake kitchen table
Yes.
scene, which was in season 1, episode 22, Job Hunting.
Hmm.
This was such an important moment in Golden Girls history. It was the start of the
Yes.
now iconic scenes of the women sitting around, discussing their problems over cheesecake, friends bonding over food.
And one of
And
the best jokes too. I mean, it's just
oh,
this table scene is legendary.
it's legendary. It's also almost it's about 6 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a
In a
long
22-minute
scene.
show, it's a very long scene,
Yeah.
but it is so rich, it's so wonderful, and I love the way that it starts. It's like, this is the one where Rose is fired from the grief center, she's stressed about finding work, none of them can sleep, and so she's like, "I'm gonna make us some warm milk." And they go into the kitchen.
Does that work?
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had warm milk.
I have. It didn't work for me, but I don't think it works. I don't know if it works for others.
Maybe, I'm sure. Look, people mention it, people talk about it, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And this all sort of turns into, like, if you give a mouse a cookie moment because, like, they start with the milk, and Rose is like, "We can't just have plain milk, like, let's have cookies." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Well, if we're gonna have cookies, let's have cheesecake and ice cream." And then Dorothy's like, "Well, we can't just have, dessert. Let's have some smoked ham and lemon chicken." And Blanche is like, "And appetizers." So this is actually the scene where they bring all of the food
Everything, which
out
is
onto
just
the
like my
table.
dream. I love that. That is like, that's my kind of night.
I have to say, watching the women eat olives and like a pepperoni and cheese and stuff, I paused my TV when I was watching this clip. I went to the fridge. I didn't have what they had. I didn't have smoked ham, but I got little Oreos, one of her little string cheeses. She has these little like ghost shaped potato chips from Trader Joe's, and I got some pickles. And I went to town, and it was giving me that same vibe of like late night snacking,
Oh
like
my
deli
God.
style.
My favorite, deli style late night snacking is amazing. I love taking deli meat and then a piece of string cheese and wrapping the meat around it and then just dunk, dunk, dunk,
Yes.
dunk, dunk. I
Do you
mean,
dunk it in like mustard or anything?
No, I don't go that far, but I'm just fine with the meat and the cheese, but ooh, it's a satisfying munch.
I love deli snacking.
Oh my God. I've been craving some honey baked ham so
Oh, you have to stop. I
badly.
can't have that while I'm pregnant. I can't have it.
Oh, you can't have ham?
You're supposed to have deli meats because of the
Oh,
possibility of
why?
listeria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
So
What are you
you
gonna
can
do?
get real sick.
Okay.
So the women, they talk about, how food puts weight on them. They talk about the first time having sex. Like you said, legendary moments. We get Svelte Burberry in this scene.
Yes.
We get, who knows? Anyway, it started with a B. Like so many classic lines from this one scene.
Should we play the clip?
Yes. So before we play the clip, this actually features a chocolate cheesecake. The very first one, a chocolate cheesecake.
Yes.
We're going to talk to George about this one as well. Let's play the scene.
We just need to break down every single one of these clips with George. Like, that's what we need to do when we talk to him. We're doing that. Okay.
That first time, did you have...
Are you serious? Why, many times that first time. Many, many times.
You did?
You didn't?
No. Oh, it was nice. I mean, being near Charlie was nice. But it was 5 years before I knew what made your eyes go back in your head. Dorothy, did you have...
How could I? I mean, it always seemed to happen before I was in the room.
See, what
good.
makes this moment so great and it personifies so much of what the series would go on to become is that it was the kind of discussions you didn't see on a lot of television shows, first off, regardless of age in general. You just don't see these discussions on a lot of shows. And then on top of that, to have it be these women of this age, of their caliber, of their TV legendary status, having these conversations, it just revolutionary. Like, it's just was so different. I often think we take for granted just how unique this table conversation was on television in 1985. It just didn't happen before, or even many years after that. It didn't start happening until the 90s. Like, this show, I can't.
Yeah, it's
this
incredible.
Clip is a
And they're
perfect
doing it in
example of
season 1. And I think what's also so great about it is you learn so much about each of these characters with these little funny anecdotes. We learn so much about Rose and what she thinks about sex, Blanche, Dorothy, what her experience with Stan was like. And again, that was a 40-second clip. You learned so much about these characters in such a short period of time, which I absolutely love. Great character building from the writers. What's also funny about this? Go ahead.
It shows so much of kind of. I mean, Blanche is pretty well established. Dorothy's pretty well established, but it really shows a lot of Rose here in that, like, there's this, because she really is a fish out of water with these women. She's never had these kind of relationships before. She's probably never had these kind of conversations before. And you're really seeing this, like, naive curiosity coming out in this character that, like, is so different for this person. With Blanche and Dorothy, they're used to this kind of conversation probably, but like, Rose.
Rose can't even say the word orgasm. She's like, "Did you have a,
It's so cute. It's so cute.
What's also funny about this scene is that it is technically the first cheesecake scene in the series, but I don't think we actually ever see the women eating cheesecake in the scene. Like, obviously they make it a big thing, but I noticed, like, Blanche is eating olives. She does, me, how much I love it when like her olive work. Rue McClanahan on the show. Dorothy, we see eat chicken and ice cream, but I don't think we actually see any of the women dig into cheesecake, which is so funny because that was like the first cheesecake scene. So that was the first one. Very important, very iconic, as is the second one, which we saw a few episodes later, which was in season 1, episode 25, The Way We Met. Now, The Way We Met is, technically, if you want to talk like Golden Girls universe, this would technically be the first cheesecake scene for the women because it was when they first started living together. However, it's the second for the audience, obviously. So, because it's a flashback episode. As we all know, in this episode, the women have been fighting. They don't think they can live together. But what eventually brings them together at the end of the episode is one of Rose's wild St. Olaf stories and, of course, cheesecake. And this is another chocolate cheesecake.
Yes.
You want to play that moment?
I'm going to play the clip.
Sure.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's awful, but I have this incredible sweet tooth.
What is it?
Cheesecake.
What kind?
Chocolate.
Oh, I think this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I guess some things never change.
They sure don't. We've almost finished the entire cheesecake.
Oh, what the hell? It was a special occasion.
Yeah, and it sure took my mind off of Psycho.
We
sure
obviously-
took my mind off of Psycho.
We didn't want to play Sophia's entrance to scare anybody. It is a frightening jump scare.
It is a bit of a jump
We're
scare.
saving
It
that
is a
for
bit
our
of a jump
Halloween movie
scare.
moments. I love that, you know, the writers this early on in the series, they set up that the cheesecake, they decided cheesecake is going to be something that started at the beginning of their relationship. And it just goes to show that they realized so early on that this was going to be something special that would be unique to their show, is the women coming around the table having cheesecake, talking about their problems. I love that. I love that.
I know. It really is sort of like, I don't know, it just becomes this, from a writing perspective, it's just a really nice sort of staple that keeps you coming back because it's familiar every time you see it. You know what to expect. You know where the story is going to come, and you know how funny it's going to be.
Speaking of funny, the third cheesecake moment that I pulled is so funny. And and again, there are so many great cheesecake moments. We'll talk about some honorable mentions afterwards. We could talk all day about cheesecake, but obviously we want to get to our chat with George. But I want to talk about season 6, episode 1, Blanche Delivers. So, you know, in this episode, Blanche is stressed about Becky giving birth at a birthing center instead of a hospital. The women are all sitting around eating cheesecake. They're telling stories about labor and giving birth. And Becky comes in and she announces to Blanche she's actually going to give birth in a hospital. And I love this cheesecake moment because the cheesecake itself is a vehicle for a great physical bit between Dorothy and Sophia. So it's like the writers took not only these women sitting around having cheesecake talking about their problems, but they used it as part of a physical gag. So that's why I wanted to pull this moment. It makes me laugh every time I see it.
It is one of the funniest.
No, I think I better have the baby here in Miami. I don't feel much like traveling.
Well, I just thought you'd be happier giving birth in a place where nobody knows me.
I can't believe you. Are you ever going to get over my being a single mother?
It's just that I have a reputation in this town.
Cheesecake, Mom.
Well, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you.
You don't sound very sorry.
I had artificial insemination. It's not like I slept with every man in town.
Chew it carefully, Mom. Like they taught you at Sadie Pines.
You really got to be watching this one because, I mean, obviously you know the moment, but that it literally is so funny when Dorothy silently just takes a bite of the cheesecake.
Yeah,
at the end of that
Sophia's just
scene.
sort of sitting there like frozen,
And she's just
Dorothy
she's like,
takes
I gotcha.
a bite.
I gotcha.
It's so good. It's so funny. Like, what a great utilization of the cheesecake. So yeah. So those were kind of our top 3 moments that we pulled, but I do want to mention I have some honorable mentions of cheesecake moments. Again, there were so many. One was from 'Twas the Nightmare Before Christmas. This is where they end up in the diner at the end of the episode where they have cheesecake there. The owner brings it over, and there's a really sweet moment where he makes them realize they're family, even though they all might not be blood related, which again is like such a big aspect of the Golden Girls. That's a really, really lovely moment. In Rites of Spring, the women are all trying to lose weight while Sophia's trying to gain it. So she makes like the most decadent, it's like a chocolate amaretto double fudge cheesecake. And in the end, the women all end up eating it. Big Daddy's Little Lady. They have a great talk about the differences in age while you're dating. Forgive Me, Father. They have cheesecake talking about forbidden romances. in The Stand who came to dinner. They have a conversation about like, pushing the baby birds from the nest. Just so many great stories and iconic moments over cheesecake.
What's your favorite cheesecake? Like, if you had to pick one.
Did we not already have a conversation about this at the start of the episode?
No, we didn't talk about your favorite cheesecake moment.
Oh, my favorite cheesecake moment.
Yeah,
I thought
not
you
your
meant
favorite
my favorite
cheesecake. No, your favorite cheesecake moment on the Golden Girls. If you had, for going over what we've discussed, if you had to pick one, what would it be?
I think the first one, I think job hunting, just because, again, it was like the introduction. I love that the women just have this table full of food, and just that scene in and of itself is so wonderful, so funny, and tells us so much about the characters on the show. So I'm going to go with job hunting, even though I don't think any of us see them take a bite of cheesecake in that one.
Yeah, true. I don't remember the exact episode, and I know maybe you or someone listening will know this, but it probably happened multiple times even. But there's a moment that I'm remembering distinctly of, I think it's Blanche. She comes home. She has a problem. She's upset. There's an upset. And then Rose goes, I'll get the cheesecake. And everyone like shuffles to get the food items real quick to get to the table to sit down to solve the problem.
Yeah.
That's my favorite moment. It probably, or moments, I should say, because it probably happened multiple times. But wow, I love it because I have those friends in my life where when something is a foul, when I need help, or when like something needs to be worked out, we go to this place, or we do this thing, or we have this activity. And it really is a relatable thing in friend groups that become like family to you over the years. And I love, even if it's like a stressful moment, going to that place or doing that thing or watching that show with your friend is like Golden Girls is going to make you feel better. And I love that. So that's my favorite moment.
I love that. There is something really nice about the comfort and the familiarity of something that you can do with friends that like helps you get through a moment. Like for me, when Stan's brother will come over sometimes, we call it pause and shit movie night, where little Oreo goes to bed and the three of us put on a movie that is bad, not like The Room or Birdemic bad, but a movie that's like just bad enough. Definitely not trying to be a bad movie. And anyway, throughout the movie, we pause and we shit on it. It's not something we're doing publicly. We're not like tweeting or, posting. It is in the comfort of our own home. We are pausing and shitting on these movies that are so bad. And somehow somebody gave someone millions of dollars to make it. But that is a comfort thing for us. That is our cheesecake. It's a pause and shit movie.
I love that. Well, should we take a break and come back with our very special guest?
Yes, let's take a break. We'll be back with Chef George. Then we'll be back with our golden takeaways. And remember, if you want to hear the full interview, we have even more bonus content. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/goldengirlspodcast, and you can get the rest of the interview there. But we hope you enjoy all the fun stuff we're about to talk about.
It's going to be so much fun.
George, welcome. It is such a pleasure having you on the podcast.
For having me.
I mean, thank you for doing it. Like this is, I was talking about it in the intro earlier about how there are so many people we've had on the podcast from the Golden Girls. We've had the writers, we've had producers, we've had actors who were guest stars on the show. But I have a feeling the work that you did and contributed to the Golden Girls made every single person so excited on set every single time you were there. Am I wrong?
Pretty close. In fact, it was interesting recently, probably about a year ago. That's recent anymore. The Los Angeles Times reporters were talking about who their most interesting person they've ever interviewed. And somebody said, you got to see this, George. Somebody said it was you. And I thought, these reporters have interviewed presidents and I get the number one spot.
I
think it's good.
Wow.
Do people call you chef?
I couldn't stand that title. back when I was working in kitchens.
Hmm.
And now my Instagram is Chef Geary because I thought, what else am I going to do? So it's easy.
It's a branding
But-
thing. And also because of the bear, everyone just wants to call you chef.
Well, and a lot of people call themselves chefs and they've really never cooked in a group. I mean, I worked with Anthony Bourdain on The Taste. I was a, what do you call it, a casting director. And people would walk in with chef coats on. And I'd say, oh, where are you a chef? Oh, well, in my own kitchen. And I thought, oh, you're not a chef. So,
Welcome to the internet in 2025. If you call yourself it, you can be anything.
You can be anything and anyone.
Well, you are legitimate. You are a legitimate chef, Kerri.
And George, we're dying to know, like, what does it feel like to be part of the legacy that is the Golden Girls?
Well, as we all know, it was 40 years ago, and I didn't have gray hair. And I could have really cared less about these four ladies back then. I didn't realize it was going to be iconic like it was. I was there for the pilot that was done like 4 months, 5 months before to test it for NBC. And I thought, these old ladies, it's cute, but I don't know what's going to happen. And I was working on a bunch of other shows too, because I was working on a show called It's a Living with Ann Julian. It was a restaurant show. Supposedly like the Bonaventure. It was the place up there. And then there was one of the first fully cable gay show was called Brothers. And it was a bar scene, and I did a lot of food for that. They couldn't have real beer. I remember they would have fake beer on there, and fake wine. Now they drink all the time. Everybody drinks. But I was working on a lot of shows back then, and I didn't think it was going to be that iconic. I thought it was another show.
Yeah. And then it
But
turns into this thing. I mean,
now it's today.
Yeah.
I get calls from People Magazine, 40th anniversary. I was, I love Oak Park, Illinois, and that's where Betty White was born. And I have a lot of friends there because I work with the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, which that's where his home and studio was, his first one in 1909. And Betty was born not far from there. And we were going to have a huge celebration for her 100th birthday. And it didn't happen. But I still went, and we passed out red vines to people. And people in their yard had these huge posters that say, "Be a Rose." And there was her picture and then Rose. It was very, very touching.
I mean,
really
that is super touching. But like, I mean, just to add on to a little bit of what you were saying, like, you didn't just add something to the show. You added an item. Like, I mean, the cheesecake is an integral part of the Golden Girls fandom, universe, knowledge. It's foundational to
We're saying it's
show
basically the fifth girl is Cheesecake.
It is really the fifth girl.
Yeah. Not Coco.
Oh, R.I.P. Coco.
Sorry, Coco. Sorry.
Oh,
Coco.
gosh, our heart breaks for Charles
Coco.
Levin.
Sorry, Coco. Coco would be in the Palm Springs Pride we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Like, that's
There
where
you go.
Coco is. Yeah.
Poor Coco. But yeah, it done some because I as you know, I was the pastry chef for the Walt Disney Company for a number of years, and there's still food out there like the corn dog that I didn't create the corn dog, but I created the one out there that was different, and people still to this day will Instagram or TikTok and affix my
Wait,
handle
which
to
corn
it.
dog did you create? I'm a Disney person.
Right when you go down Main Street, the red the red wagon, those corn dogs. Yeah,
that's you.
And everybody hated the people working there because they had the batter was so thick and gooey, and it still is. It has honey in it and stuff. So yeah, and
it's
I wish
delicious, George. It's delicious.
The cheapest meal in the whole park.
Yes.
You get that, a drink, and some chips.
Oh my god! Well, you know what I do? I'll tell you what I do because I'm a little bit of a snob. I get the corn dog, and then I go across the street to the cafe over there to get the homemade chips. They make these homemade chips.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking?
Snob. That is quality.
Thank you.
Your calories.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. The Jolly Holiday or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Jolly Holiday. Yes.
Yeah, it used to be the Plaza Pavilion restaurant, but they changed it into a coffee house. But so there's many items out there still, and I go, oh yeah, I invented that out there. I wish I had a nickel for every corn dog that was sold because they have them worldwide. They're in all the parks.
Wow.
You're very
Yeah.
so you're famous
Claim
for
to
corn dogs and
fame.
cheesecake now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Now,
among other
I'm
things.
waiting. I'm waiting to be, an answer or the question on the game shows. Who invented the, corn dog or something like that.
That'd be a great Jeopardy question.
That would.
I think so. Let's call Jeopardy up.
I'll make that happen. I'll make it happen.
Okay. All right.
But no, so what is it like? I mean, when you are a part of the legacy of a show like this, and since then you go on to do things like back then when you were doing it, where were you in your life as a chef? Like, where were you?
Yeah.
What was happening at that point?
Well, what it was and how it started, and I always think it's a fascinating start. I was working at a grocery store, and the grocery store is still there, but they changed the name, and I was the bakery manager.
Okay.
And I would get people in from Paramount and Bryn Mawr stages, which that's where Golden Girls moved to. It was over at the Warner stages for a while, and Sunset Gower stages is where they started. And I would get these people running it. Can you do this for me? And I know isn't in my vocabulary. So this one guy came in and he says, "Is there any way you can do we're filming a show with old ladies and we need a wedding cake because as I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know about that show, but it's not in sequence of how the show runs." And there was a wedding, and Blanche got jilted at the altar, and then one of the girls' daughter was getting married, and that was a two-parter.
Kate.
And so I had to do this wedding cake, and she said, the guy said, "Can you do a wedding cake for $100?" And I went, "How much has to be edible?" He was impressed that I knew that with white things on camera look weird because of the lighting hitting.
Yeah.
So it had to be an off yellow.
Oh,
And
wow.
I did it, and he said, "Everyone thinks it's ugly because it's off yellow and it's not white, but on camera it'll look white," I told him, which it did because we did a test. And then the show got picked up, and I had to make another wedding cake. And now they have money, so we like that.
Yeah.
And
you got more than $100, didn't you, George?
Oh yeah, a few more dollars.
Yeah.
But if you look at the show, Cheesecake didn't come in until about the 19th episode. It was later on. It was a chocolate something cheesecake, and I think it was because they were all reminiscing about how they met. I believe. I mean, I watch the show, but only when I see it. I don't sit there and watch it all the time.
Yeah.
So, so I made. They said we need 7 cheesecakes for Friday night taping. They only needed 1 wedding cake, thank God, and then they needed the same one, the look later on, a couple months later. So I go ahead and I do 7 cheesecakes, and they had to all be the same. Some were on cardboard, so it looked like it was from a bakery. Some looked like it was on a plate. So we had 7 of everything. And I was doing them at the grocery store, the first couple. And then I was doing It's a Living, and I was doing all those other shows over at Paramount, which was 3 blocks away. And there was a morning show. I'm trying to think of Sarah Purcell was on it. And it was like Good Morning LA type of show. And there I did weird stuff. And they never wanted to pay very well.
Local.
So I go ahead and I do these 7 cheesecakes. And at first they were talking about having a carrot cake.
Oh.
And I thought, a carrot cake? Those are too hard to do. And 7 of them identical.
No.
I told the prop guy, I said, cheesecake will work better. So that's kind of how that started, the first one.
Yeah.
Then they were getting such good laughs with cheesecake. And we just kept adding cheesecake. And I would do, normally it's a plain cheesecake, and I'd add different berries on top. And I wasn't working at the grocery store anymore. I was working in the prop department over at Paramount, doing a lot of the work because I was doing more. Golden Girls moved to Bryn Mawr, which was around the corner, which was easier. And in the morning on Fridays, I would go over to the set and put the 7 cheesecakes in that refrigerator. And in the vegetable drawers, which I always tell people what was in the vegetable drawers, Coke, Diet Coke, and Sprite. And that was for the warm-up guy to hang out, to throw out at the audience.
Yeah.
And the warm-up guy was Michael Berger, And Michael Berger also was on a national show called Mike and Maddie that I was the food person on camera for that, because I did that for 3.5 years, which was kind of interesting. So in the industry, you never, well, you kiss everybody's you know what.
Yes. Yes.
Because you don't know when you're going to work with them again. So Michael was doing the warm up, and then I'm doing a show with him every Thursday. I did the food segments on that national show, and then years later, he's doing Hot in Cleveland as the warm up guy again.
Uh-huh.
So he went back there, and I went there.
He's a pretty legendary warm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
He
should
really
mention
is
it's a warm-up
good.
comedian for anybody who's never been to a taping of a show before. There's always a warm-up comedian who kind of gets the audience in the zone, ready to laugh, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. And
Yeah.
he can, it was funny. I sat in the audience at one thing years back, and I just watched him. And then when he and Mike and Maddie were on together, he could get her laughing so hard to where they'd have to stop. And because we were taped live, we did the day before on that show. So anyway, I did the 7 cheesecakes. Then they started saying, "Oh, we need that. Ma is going to be making pasta sauce, so and I would just use canned pasta sauce, stuff like that." And then there was the funny one when Rose and Blanche go sell sandwiches at what do you call it? A construction site.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any tomatoes, so they said they were baconless and potato sandwiches.
Yep.
So they
Yes.
told me to do a slice of potato so they could see it kind of when they do a close up.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, no, this is hilarious because baconless potato. You say it fast enough, they
Yeah.
As
Did
we
you ever
know,
eat
watching them.
Did you ever eat a bacon, lettuce, and potato sandwich? Did you sample your sandwich that you made?
No, and I don't think that consumed, because sometimes you would do the food where nobody's going to eat it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I still do that to this day because I work in the morning shows in San Diego, the food segments, and I'll tell the anchor, "Don't eat this," and or "This is edible," or something like that. And once in a while, the anchor will go ahead and take a bite of something that's not edible, and then they look at me, and I go, and I'm smiling on camera, and you aren't. So that's kind of how the cheesecake started.
Yeah.
The 7 on Fridays, and then I realized, because I said to him one time, I said, "Why do we need 7? You guys are only cutting into 1 or 2. 7's a lot."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Because you aren't here on Friday night. We might go really late. If we have any whipped cream look on the cake, it might melt. So we really want you to be there all the time, since you aren't there, to have 7 ready to go." So that's what I did. Plus, I'm in my 20s. I'm in Hollywood. Do you think I want to hang out with 4 old ladies who are in their 50s? Or do I want to go out dancing and being a bad boy?
Yeah.
You figure out which one I did.
Yeah.
That's why years I only saw 2 shows taped
Wow.
the whole time. And today, you're older, I would go every night that I could do it.
Sure.
But, and I only can remember the one I saw, and I don't even think they had cheesecake in it, was when the cousin Sven came.
Oh.
Yes, a visit from little Sven.
Yeah.
I'm in love with Blanche.
Yeah, Blanche. And you look at it today and you go, he had no accent. It was a horrible acting job.
Yeah.
That was one of the
We just recently talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do the 10 bad acting jobs on that show, which never were the girls. It was him. He was a bad one.
Yeah.
Poor Sven.
I know.
And then which one was whose granddaughter came? Well, there was a grandson that kept the music up all night.
That was Blanche's grandson, David.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there was a few granddaughters that came.
There was Melissa. Was she singing?
No, but this granddaughter was also the
Charlie.
daughter on.
There was like
It could have been Charlie, Rose's granddaughter. They're like she's like doing her makeup for her or something in the bedroom.
Oh, this is the one that didn't want to hang out. She wanted to go be a little slut.
Oh, that's her
Lucy.
niece. That's her niece.
Blanche's niece, Lucy. She was
niece.
a teen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a fun guessing game.
She had ovary genes.
Yeah,
That's a whole She had, where she had dots, circles on her jeans that looked like ovaries. Yeah.
She was also the daughter on Brothers, that other show that I worked on.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So she switched over there.
Well,
yeah, right when I saw her on the set, I was like, oh, I remember her.
I did want to ask you, like, when you're bringing these cheesecakes on set, because if you're bringing 7 cheesecakes, I'm assuming all edible, right? Like those are all edible.
Yeah, always.
Do you think that maybe they were asking you to bring all that on so that then they could eat whatever didn't get ate?
Of course. Everybody in television doesn't get fed very well.
Yeah.
When I do the morning show, I bring a lot extra food,
Yeah.
and they all laugh because I will bring more than I need for the show.
Yeah.
And it makes them happy and it invites you back.
Well, so then to piggyback on that, then, did you ever get a sense of what the girls thought or enjoyed about the food that you brought, particularly the cheesecakes?
They never really talked about it, but later on it was always talked about that one of them hated cheesecake and thought it was stupid.
Dorothy.
Yeah. And I was reviewing all of the shows with Cheesecake recently last year because I had a book deal that fell through because Disney wouldn't let us go forward.
Yeah.
We love, and after working for the Walt Disney Company, and I went all the way to the top to try to get this done before the 40th anniversary, and they said no. And their lawyers came after me.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
And the lawyers were saying, you keep bugging us, we're going to take some action. And it was just, it was very strange. But when I was reviewing those for that book that I was going to be doing, there was so many I would see the live of the meeting. And I did see Dorothy's eat some, but it wasn't her favorite. She moved it around the plate a lot. But I don't know if you've seen the show, or the show was with Alice and Jenny Mom.
Oh, yes.
On CBS.
Yes.
A few of the actresses on there were good friends. And I said, where are you guys getting the food? Because they're always eating on that, that diner. And she said, what's interesting is they ask us what we want, and it has to be from Trader Joe's because they won't hire somebody to cook or do anything. So we eat salads from Trader Joe's, and we have to move it around a lot because they won't buy more than one for the show.
Wow.
So it's really interesting how the shows do food.
The budgets have gone down.
Yeah,
cutting corners.
Sad.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, cheesecakes were kind of, like the go-to dessert for the women, but you also made other desserts on the show. Are there any that kind of stick out that were either like challenging or fun to kind of come up with, like some of Rose's Scandinavian dishes?
Yeah, because it was Rose, because she always talked about her cookflurken or whatever it was.
Like an Erkenflurken.
Yeah, we knew what we were talking about. And so they said, make it out of Rice Krispie treats and ice it and do these types of things. So I had to open, and those I didn't have to do 7. I'd only have to do, I think, because the cast and crew wasn't going to eat them all. I'd only have to do a couple of those things. But they didn't do a whole lot of strange foods that I can remember. I just remembered that cake thing, and they did a close-up of it. When you're working on a show so long ago, you don't really think of how the camera angles are until you see it in a different aspect. And that's like today, because of the show being so iconic. I'll look at the cheesecake and go, that's only half a cheesecake. Why? Well, then the storyline was, we have some cheesecake left over. So, and we've got ice cream, when they started pulling everything out. I've got something to tell you, or I get emailed all the time and called and stuff about cheesecake, and about Golden Girl stuff. And you both being the expert and knowing the names of everything, somebody emailed me this question, and I called a friend of mine that worked on the set, and I asked him why. Now, see if you've ever gotten this question. The refrigerator has, I call it a Brady Bunch refrigerator with the water and the ice, in the door. There's 90% of the time there is a coffee cup sitting there.
Yes.
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they asked, and I found out why.
Why?
It was because the refrigerator's old. It dripped water. It was on sound. They could hear it. So the cup has paper toweling in it. And I remember seeing paper toweling in it, but I couldn't figure out why. And I never asked, why
George,
does this cup sit here?
you have just solved a mystery. We've talked about this so much on the podcast. When we see it, we're like, why is there a coffee cup sitting there? And we've never known why. If it was just an aesthetic thing, like, was that a thing that people did back in the 80s? Wow.
Wow.
You have just
solved a mystery.
solved a mystery.
Hey, and I thought you knew everything. But, but I'm glad I was able to.
don't.
But I thought that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 But we have. So I want to ask you one more question before we go. We're going to come back. We're going to take a break, and then for everyone listening right now, you can go listen on the Patreon for the rest of the conversation. But before we do that, I need to ask you. So, since you created all the Golden Girls cheesecakes, like if someone was coming to you, and we're going to talk about the birthday cake you made for Betty, we're going to talk about the things that you did, like other things you've done. But if someone came to you and asked for a iconic Golden Girls cheesecake birthday cake, like you had to create the Golden Girls cheesecake, what kind of cheesecake would it be? What would you create for that person?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay still?
Yeah.
Okay, because I only have one thing in. The other one fell down.
No.
It would be the plain cheesecake that I did more than anything.
Okay.
And I might as well tell you, Dirt. The Dirt that I thought, because I have many cheesecake books out too that I've written, and there a nonprofit organization in Glendale, California, asked if I would put some things up for an auction, and I thought, you know what? Doing a Golden Girls cheesecake for somebody whenever they needed it, within a year, and my book, I thought that was a great little, the auction person came back and said, that's not our quality of our items. So we really don't want that. Would you give a trip to France? Because I take people to France. I said, no.
Wow.
And I said, forget it then. So he goes ahead and takes it because it's late, and he goes ahead and takes the auction, and it got $2,000. And I said,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I saw him.
Yeah.
And I said, so you got $2,000 that you wouldn't have, and they took the book, but nobody ever asked for the cake within 12 months. But I mean,
I would have been on the phone the next day.
Yeah,
asking for
I would have been
Golden
like,
Girls
so,
cheesecake.
Chef George, when can I get that cake?
Yeah. I mean, I make it all the time. A friend of mine lives in Mae West Sold apartment. She does salons up at the Ravenswood, and she'll do these salons all the time. And she says,
I want to go to one of those salons, just so we know.
Well, there you go. She does a Disney salon where we have a lot of the old animators will come. In fact, she's done Disney salon 4 times for Disney. Fascinating people that she has. And I met her years ago at the Breakfast Club. If you've never been to that, those people are crazy.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah.
But I always said, do you want me to bring a cheesecake? She's like, I hate to ask you, but okay. And I'll do a cheesecake, like a 14-inch one, a really large one.
Wow.
But the Golden Girl one normally was about a 10-inch cheesecake unless they had it cut. And then so it would look larger on set than it really was.
Wow.
I love all these little tips and tricks about, coming up with food for TV versus like a bakery or a restaurant.
It's different.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a whole.
We're going to take a break. You can listen to the rest of this conversation on Patreon. But before we do that, for the people listening on the main podcast, I want people to be able to know where they can follow you, find your work, taste your food, do the things.
Buy your cookbook.
Buy the cookbooks, all the things. So, George, this is your moment. Be a promotional slut.
Wow.
Yes.
Like I bought some groceries today, and I had like 25 $1 bills. And I said to the gal, "Oh, I was dancing last night." And she looked at me and she goes, "You didn't make much, did you?" The nerve, I thought I was being funny, for her to like.
If that was a girl in Palm Springs, it's very appropriate.
Oh well, no, well, yeah, but the easiest is Instagram, Chef Geary, Geary, like the street in San Francisco, and then Facebook is George Geary,
Wonderful.
and Instagram. I don't do X or Twitter,
Okay.
and I don't do TikTok, and all my books are at georgegeary.com on my website, and I've got my next book comes out
Yay!
in February.
What is it called?
You can't see it. Oh, there you go.
Citrus Illustrated.
Citrus Illustrated.
Oh.
And it's all about citrus desserts and stuff. But
talking
I've
my
got
language.
Cheesecake Bible. I've got Cheesecake Bible in Italian and French.
I mean, go to George's website, get all the things. We'll link it
link to
all
everything in
the show notes
as well.
and everything, so everyone will know where to go. But stick around, go to the Patreon if you want to listen to the rest of our conversation. We'll be right back with our golden takeaways. Kerri and I will be. And we are back with our golden takeaways, which is a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your lives or the lives of our listeners. Kerri Doherty Bush, what is your golden takeaway from this episode?
I thought my golden takeaway was going to be about like cheesecake and food and bringing people together and community and all that stuff. But when George told us the story of why the mug lives on the refrigerator, I immediately thought, you know what?
Funny.
I'm telling you that we're going to keep, every time we talk to someone who worked on the show, we learn something brand new that we never knew. And I'm just so excited to continue learning all these really fun behind the scenes, crazy trivia moments from the Golden Girls. Like, my mind is blown that we now know why that mug was there when we've asked about it during live watch-alongs, during rewinds. Like, we've talked about it. We now know the answer. I feel fulfilled. What's your golden takeaway?
It's fantastic. No, I do love it. I love that. That was a good moment of, because it's so, and it's so,
and
like,
also just a really, really great chat with Chef George. He was
fantastic.
absolutely lovely.
He's fantastic.
So fun. Loved his stories.
And what's great about a moment like that is it really shows you how crazy of a Golden Girls fan you are, and that, like, and everyone listening can relate to this, that, like, of course we're going to obsess over the mug on the fridge door. Like, of course. And like, and any other show, that's not happening. But with our community, it's happening. And I love that George put it to rest. My golden takeaway from this episode is mainly, I feel like I do this a lot. Maybe it's my woo-woo in my elder age of 28. But, like, one of the things that I love about this podcast and what we do is that we're able to have these kind of conversations with people involved within even like tangentially involved within sort of the Golden Girls world. And I'm always so impressed and I'm always so tickled that I get to have these conversations, and I always feel like I learn something, and it just really gratifies, or it solidifies, and I have a lot of gratitude for, because gratitize, that's not a word. I have a lot of gratitude for what we do and the community we have, because I know in us having these conversations, there's somebody else out there that, and we're not like a massive podcast or anything, but there's someone, you listening, you're going to be like, that was great. This is like exactly what I wanted to know. I wanted to hear from the dude who made the cheesecakes for the Golden Girls. Like, and it's so random, but at the same time, it's so perfect. And George is so perfect. And it just, the conversation made me really, really, really happy. And I'm just really glad that we're able to bring that to you. And I'm grateful for you listening and while we're watching us have these conversations, because I love doing them.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast. I also love having these conversations with people who worked on the show. It was great. And remember, I know I keep saying this, but if you do want to listen to a little bit more of our interview with George, you can check out even more stories, even more anecdotes at patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast. And in the meantime, we will see you back here next week for more Golden Girls greatness.
Oh, yes. And thank you all for listening. Of course, you can we're a part of Mom, Moguls of Media, so you can go over there and support the Mommy Plus. You can also follow us on social media at Golden Girls Pod on Twitter, out on the Lanai Official on Instagram, Golden Girls Pod on Facebook, and I'm HAlanScott / Sadie Pines on everything.
And I'm Squid Eat Squid on Twitter and Squidsy on Instagram. And if you guys want to do something else awesome for the podcast, you can leave us a rating and review. It really, really helps us out.
It does. And of course, remember,
as always,
stay
golden.
And get a piece of cheesecake in honor of George and the girls. Right? Eat that cheesecake. Eat the shit out of it. Oh.
Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.